Seattle Seahawks have made a lot of changes this offseason. As a matter of fact, entering 2025, they're going to be a completely different team than they were in 2024, and I believe that is for the better. When I look at Seattle entering year 2 with Coach McDonald, he had a very successful first year in the NFL as a head coach. He finished the season being 10-7. Unfortunately, it was not good enough to go out there and win this division and make an NFL playoff appearance. But sometimes it's about the building blocks that you're building on the fly. The reason why they brought him in, they wanted a better defense long term, and they wanted him to go out there and basically stop the run game of Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. You look at Pete Carroll, and I'll never come on here and say that Pete Carroll was a terrible head coach or he is a terrible head coach. You look at some of the things that he's done in the past for this organization. He won a Super Bowl with Seattle. He got them to 2 Super Bowls. I understand what happened in the second Super Bowl, the whole Marshawn Lynch, you should have ran the football situation. Regardless, Pete Carroll right now will go down as the best head coach in Seahawks history. That's just my opinion. But it was time to move on. He was getting older. Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, younger coaches that were out coaching him and his defensive schemes and lack of adjustments. He tried to go out there and recreate the Legion of Boom. It was never going to happen. So they made the tough decision to move off of Pete Carroll. You bring in Mike McDonald. For the first half of the season, the defense was inconsistent, but you saw a blueprint there to go out there and to stop the run and to be aggressive, up close and personal with the top wide receivers in this division. When Cooper Kupp was with the Los Angeles Rams, the same with Puka Nacua, Brandon Ayuk with the San Francisco 49ers, and Marvin Harrison Jr. with the Arizona Cardinals. You need to have a good defense in this division to contend, and it's more than just stopping the run. You need to have athletic players up front. And the way that Mike McDonald builds his defense is through his linebackers on the interior and also on the outside by setting hard edges up front with defensive ends and having a clear rotation of guys up front and their front 7. The reason why he got this job was because of the work that he did with the Baltimore Ravens the year before. The Baltimore Ravens had the top rushing defense in the NFL and a top passing defense. They had the best total defense in all of football. They were phenomenal. They gave hell to every single quarterback that they faced in the last year with Coach McDonald. If you don't believe that he's a great defensive mind, look at their defense without him. They were in the bottom of the league in terms of passing defense. When they made the trade to bring in Ernest Jones, they finally had a consistent linebacker with speed and a whole bunch of intensity to his game that can go out there and stop running backs from going into the secondary. That's why it was essential to give him a contract extension. And when you look at Ernest Jones, he's 25 years old. He's played for the Rams. He's played for the Titans. He's now with Seattle. This is his 3rd team. Usually when you have a player that's in his early to mid 20s and they're moving him around, it may be character concerns, or it may be the fact that he's just a bad football player. That's not the case with Ernest Jones. He was never placed into a great situation. And with the Rams, he wasn't a bad player, but they just wanted to move on. I look at Ernest Jones. He's the perfect player to have in this system with Mike McDonald. And he was not able to go out there and have a full training camp, full OTAs with his head coach. He was with the Rams, went over to the Titans. He now gets to have a full offseason workout program with this organization. He's going to be a beast moving forward. And do not be surprised if he's their best linebacker moving forward. He was solid in the pass game, and he was phenomenal in the rushing department. They're in the bottom of the league in terms of going out there and stopping the run on a consistent basis with their linebackers. As soon as he came over to the Seahawks, the rushing defense got better. And it's more than just Ernest Jones. You look at Tyrese Knight, a very good young player. Give him some time to develop. You need those athletic linebackers in this division to slow down Christian McCaffrey, slow down Kyron Williams, and the same with James Conner. Far as their defensive rotation up front, Jarran Reed is a solid defensive lineman. He's not a superstar player, but he was able to get some sacks and get some pressures on the quarterback last season. 4.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. He's a very good rotational defensive lineman to have. When I look at what they did in the NFL draft, they selected Riley Mills, who was a very good defensive tackle coming over from Notre Dame. And you selected him with the 142th pick in the 5th round. He is a Mike McDonald type of guy. You look at Notre Dame, they had a very good rushing defense last season at the college level. And Riley Mills is going to be able to go out there, stop the run, get to the quarterback in certain situations. He is not known for going back there and putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback on a consistent basis. I know last season he has 7.5 sacks. That is more so of a scheme type of pressure that they had for him. He was able to blow through offensive guards and get to the quarterback. But with the Seahawks, they don't need him to go back there and to have a bunch of sacks on the year. He's a versatile defensive lineman that's going to fit in very well playing alongside Jalen Reed, and the same with Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is their best defensive lineman. He had a breakout season last season. 11 sacks, 1 interception that went for a touchdown on the New York Jets. He had a phenomenal year last year. He won Defensive Player of the Month for the NFC for a reason. And part of that was because of the games that he had against the Arizona Cardinals and what he did against the New York Jets. He's a very good defensive lineman. He's a 2-1, very good pass rusher, very good against the run. And you're bringing over DeMarcus Lawrence from the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he had a very interesting thing to say. He felt like the Dallas Cowboys were never going to go out there and win the Super Bowl. But he felt like the Seattle Seahawks are just a couple pieces away. Now, that's his opinion. Regardless of how he feels about the Cowboys or the Seahawks, he's a very good player to have on your roster. We've seen him in the past have 8 sacks on the year. But he's known for setting the edge, stopping the run, and getting to the quarterback on first and second down. The reason why I love this pickup and why it's an under-the-radar signing, his presence is going to help out Derek Hall. Derek Hall had 8 sacks last season. He's not a run stopper. He's not going to go out there and stop the run on a consistent basis. He can't set the edge. DeMarcus Lawrence can, and he's a veteran. He's not going to jump off sides and have those dumb penalties like how some younger players may. DeMarcus Lawrence will go out there on first and second down, stop the run, get to the quarterback. You can run a NASCAR type of package with Derek Hall coming straight off the edge and putting pressure on that opposing quarterback. So now you don't have to play him on first and second down. You may call me crazy. You may want him on the field majority of the time because he has a high sack number. Sacks don't mean everything. He's a very good football player. I'm not taking that from him. But in terms of him stopping the run and setting the edge, he's not there just yet. And we've seen the New York Jets with Robert Saleh. They've done similar things. They'll bring in a defensive lineman. Strictly on 3rd and long, go get the quarterback. 2nd and long, go get the quarterback. And this is the thing with Derek Hall. He made life hell for Kyler Murray and Brock Purdy when they're trying to escape outside the pocket. He's a very good athletic defensive lineman. Where DeMarcus Lawrence may lack in athleticism, he could pick up for that. So now you have a clear-cut rotation up front of defensive linemen, young and older, that should be able to help you out with your defense, something he had with the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm talking about Coach McDonald here. I have a lot of high expectations for this defense in year number 2 with Coach McDonald. You selected Byron Murphy in the first round a year ago. He missed majority of last season dealing with a hamstring injury. He's 310 pounds. He's 6'1". You may say, hey, he can't get to the quarterback. He's a nice run stopper. Yes and no. He can get to the quarterback. He is slower than most defensive tackles because he's bigger. But don't let that fool you. He can track down a quarterback sometimes when he's fully healthy. But his presence with this team, just like Jalen Reed and Leonard Williams, is going to stop the quarterback from having the ability to step up inside the pocket. Look at the games last season against Brock Purdy, against Kyler Murray. They're trying to step up into their throws. They just couldn't do it. Byron Murphy's in their face. Leonard Williams is in their face. When you can't step up in your throw, you now may have an underthrown football. Out of nowhere, here comes one of those players in the secondary or a linebacker. You can go for a pick six, or you just go for an interception, take the football away from the quarterback. It's the little things the Seahawks have been missing on the back end of Pete Carroll's tenure that you're making up right now early on with Coach McDonald. So their defensive line, in terms of having depth in their starting players, they have one of the better ones on paper right now. Paper doesn't always win, but I've seen Coach McDonald build a defense like this before, and they were able to go out there and lead the league in takeaways. That is how impressive his defensive building has been within the last few years with him building defenses with the Baltimore Ravens. So far, their defensive line and their front seven as a whole, I love it. You have Boye Mafe, who is still a very good pass rusher, 6 sacks last season. They don't need one guy to just go back there and be TJ Watt, be Max Crosby. when you have 4 to 5 defensive linemen that can give you hell and you're rotating those packages in and out. It's going to be a lot of problems for teams in this division and just for teams in general that face the Seattle Seahawks, including the Los Angeles Rams. And I like the Rams, but they lost to the Rams in overtime last season in their first matchup. I don't think that's going to happen again when they face them for this upcoming season. When I look at their secondary, you have a strong secondary. Devin Witherspoon was already here when Coach McDonald came over. The same with Tariq Woolen. Tariq Woolen in one-on-one situations, press man coverage, cover 1, cover 2. He's one of the best corners you can have. He's phenomenal. A lot of quarterbacks, they just don't test him. He just has to stay healthy. Devin Witherspoon is a maniac, and I mean that in the best way possible. You can blitz him off the edge. He can go sack the quarterback. He can go tackle running backs in the open field. He can go chase down someone like Kyler Murray and force him to throw an interception to Kobe Bryant on the back end that goes for a pick 6. Little decisions like that and athletic abilities can help you moving forward. They have one of the best secondaries in the NFL in terms of having 2 very good cornerbacks that mirror each other. Tariq Woolen is more so of a cover corner, while Devin Witherspoon, tackler, will get nasty in your face. You can put him on tight ends. He's a versatile defender to have on the back end. And when you look at how Coach McDonald used him last season, it was so interesting and so beautiful to see at the same time. He has him inside the slot, has him on the outside. He has that versatility that Tariq Woolen doesn't have. Tariq Woolen is mostly an outside cornerback, and that's great to have. When you motion out with someone like Puka Nacua, you motion out someone like Brandon Ayuk, who's going to be there trailing him around? Tariq Woolen. And if he needs help, you have Devin Witherspoon. And the safety department with the Seahawks were just terrible a few years back with Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs. Quandre Diggs was a better safety than Jamal Adams, but Jamal Adams was completely terrible. You now have 2 safeties that are consistently good in coverage. Kobe Bryant and Julian Love. Julian Love was very good in Jamal Adams last season with the Seahawks. You look at Julian Love last season, 79 solo tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, 12 pass deflections. That's great to have. In the second round, they drafted Nick out of South Carolina. 6'3", 230 pounds. He had 4 interceptions in his last season with South Carolina. On top of that, he wasn't even known for his coverage ability entering his last year playing with South Carolina. He was known for being a thumper, hitting you and causing you forced fumbles. Now, I wonder how referees are going to go out there and officiate him. We've come a long way in the NFL over the last 20 or 30 years. He's the type of safety, if you put him in the early 2000s, he would have been one of the best players in the league. He's just going to knock the hell out of you. And he's not one of those dirty hitters. He's not going to hit you helmet to helmet. He's just going to come downhill and hit you with his shoulder and knock the football out. If they let him play physical at the next level, he can be that Cam Chancellor type. And I'm not saying that he'll be the next Cam Chancellor, but in his terms of just being a big hitter, knocking the football out of your hands with just big hits on crucial downs, he's going to be that safety for you. And he's also very good in coverage. His last 2 years at South Carolina, he became a very good cover safety. He could play free safety. He could play strong safety. He's more so of a strong safety than he is a free safety. But don't be surprised if they do motion him around a lot on the back end. Once again, Mike Macdonald is known for running different mass coverages on the back end. They may come out in a cover 3 look. They switch everything around. They're actually in cover 1. And they just have a rotating safety coming down the middle of the field. They may blitz you from certain different angles up front. That's the type of defense that Mike Macdonald wants to have, and they have the building blocks on the back end and up front. But I love the draft pick of getting Riley Mills and also getting Nick. And you still have Josh Jobe, who's a solid cornerback. I like him a lot. So far with the defense, and there's a reason why I started this video off with the defense, I'm most excited for the defense with the Seahawks than I am with their offense. Strictly because of the fact you have a defensive head coach. Now, when we talk about their offense here, there's a lot of moving parts. You no longer have Geno Smith, and I'm sad about that. I was a big Geno Smith fan. I'm still a big Geno Smith fan. Geno Smith, say what you want to say about him. He had a lot of solid moments with Seattle, and he shocked the world. He got his career back on track with Pete Carroll. Reportedly, they offered him a contract extension. He said, man, I'm good. They traded him to the Raiders. They're going to let him go and be back with his former head coach in Pete Carroll. You got a 3rd-round pick out of it. You traded DK Metcalf to the Steelers for a second-round pick. The Steelers paid him 5 years, $150 million. DK Metcalf was a very good wide receiver. Could be a crash out at times, but I'll give him his credit. Very good wide receiver. Video game character come to life. By moving on from those veteran players and by moving on from Tyler Lockett, you're installing a brand new system. You see, last season, Seattle's offense wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best. Geno Smith had 21 passing touchdowns to 15 interceptions. And you may say it was time to move on from Geno Smith. He's 35 years old. He was washed up. He wasn't going to be able to go out there and perform for you. That's just looking at numbers. Even though I'm giving Mike McDonald a lot of credit for last season, first-year head coach, you have to give him some time. He's still dealing with a lot of Pete Carroll guys. He brought over a brand new offensive coordinator. Shane Waldron, they didn't want to bring him back, which was a great decision. But you brought over Ryan Grubb. Ryan Grubb was not a good offensive play caller in the NFL. As a matter of fact, he's back in college. He's Alabama's offensive coordinator. He's going to do tremendous things with Alabama. He's the same offensive coach that was able to go out there at Washington when they went against Michigan, that helped develop Michael Penix Jr., Jalen Polk, and Roma Dunze. That's the same coach. A pass-heavy system. The Seahawks were known to run the football with Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet. Geno Smith will never be the main reason to why you win a football game or two in big crucial moments. You have to play complementary football with him. But I think it's safe to say this. Majority of quarterbacks last season would have not survived the Seattle Seahawks system. Geno Smith was placed into a bad situation, coaching-wise. Weapon-wise, not so much. He had Tyler Lockett. He had DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. The reason why I say that, they barely ran the football early on. They passed the football at a high clip for the first half of the season. Even at the midway point in the season, Geno Smith was averaging 38 pass attempts a game. That's not the way to win football at the next level. That was never going to work. And a lot of that was because of Ryan Grubb. Now look at Ryan Grubb. He has some nice plays here and there, taking the deep shots down the field to Tyler Lockett and to DK Metcalf. The engine of this offense should be their run game. So Mike McDonald realized, I have to move on from him. He let him go. He brings in Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak, he's a veteran in the NFL. As a play caller, not so much. He got the call plays last season with the Saints. The first 2 weeks, the Saints were like a Super Bowl contender. After that, everything went to hell. That was not all on Clint Kubiak. The team was dealing with injuries, quarterback position, offensive line position, wide receiving position. But you got to see what his offense was going to look like, and he worked underneath Kyle Shanahan. The reason why I'm saying all of this, they go out there, they bring over Sam Darnold. If you're worried about Sam Darnold being the starting quarterback for the next 5 to 10 years, don't worry. He signed a 3-year contract with Seattle in the first place. Last season, 35 passing touchdowns to 12 interceptions, 4,319 passing yards. And you may be in the camp and say, you know what? He did majority of that. He was dealing with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. You could put any quarterback in this situation, they'll ball out. Yes and no. We never got to see Sam Darnold go to a solid team until he became the starter with the Vikings. He was a backup with the 49ers, but he was never the starter. Who was on that coaching staff with the 49ers? Clint Kubiak. Sam Darnold had big-time moments with the Jets, but the Jets can't develop anyone. You look at their quarterback tree, Geno Smith and Zach Wilson. They were terrible quarterbacks in that system. Geno Smith comes over to the Seahawks. He looks like a top-tier quarterback within his first year. You look at Sam Darnold. Last season may have been an outlier, but there's a lot of talent here. He's a big-arm quarterback that can win you some tough football games. He came into Seattle, a crucial game, and balled out against his defense with Mike McDonald calling plays against Tyreek Woolen, and the same with Devin Witherspoon. Just throwing dots down the field. Coaching can help you out a lot, but a lot of the plays that I got to see from last season with Sam Darnold, he was just being a hell of a quarterback, making plays outside the pocket. And I know how his season ended. He held on to the football for too long against the Rams. They couldn't run the football. They sacked him 9 times. He's going to be a good quarterback with the Seahawks, especially in this system with Clint Kubiak. A bunch of play action bootlegs, a bunch of motion, and a bunch of wide receivers that can make plays underneath. And if it doesn't work out, you can cut him after 1 year. One thing I failed to mention a couple of months ago when they first signed Sam Darnold and we're still learning the contract details, he has 1 year of guaranteed money. They can cut him after this first season. There's no dead money left in that contract, which is really crazy to think about. Shout out to the general manager. And Sam Darnold is basically betting on himself. If this doesn't work out in year one, you move on from him. You go with Jalen Milro as your long-term starter if he's fully ready. But I do believe that Sam Darnold will give you good production. And he's still in his 20s. They have to build the right offensive line pieces around him. And this is where we get into the conversation with the offensive line before I get into Jalen Milro. The offensive line with Seattle has been so inconsistent over the last 5 years. A lot of it is due to injuries and the fact their offensive line just wasn't good. Abraham Lucas is a very good right tackle. Charles Cross is their best consistent offensive lineman at the left tackle position. I don't have to worry about him. Abraham Lucas has missed significant time within the last 2 seasons dealing with knee injuries, and I hate that for offensive linemen. When you're dealing with knee injuries, you don't get better in the NFL at that position. As a matter of fact, you may get worse health-wise. It's a constant beating on your knees over and over and over again. That's why you drafted Gray Zabel in the first round from North Dakota State. A big offensive lineman that could play right tackle, that could play at the guard position. Right now, he's listed at left guard. He can also play the center position. He did a lot at North Dakota State. If Abraham Lucas can't stay fully healthy for his upcoming season, it's time to move on. They need a consistent starter on that side of the line. And you need to have the right offensive lineman up front for a quarterback like Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold does not do well against blitzes. He does not do well against consistent pressure. He'll have his moments, but on a consistent basis, look at what happened against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They ran a lot of blitzes, a lot of twists, a lot of stunts up front. He was perplexed. Against the Los Angeles Rams, he got punched in his mouth. He looked completely terrible. And I always go back to that pivotal moment with the Jets. This is why it's so essential to actually develop your quarterback early on and work on this in the offseason. And hopefully Clint Kubiak can do that with Sam Darnold, still a young player. He went over to the sideline, puts his hat on against the Patriots, and he said, man, I'm seeing ghosts. He wasn't comfortable inside the pocket. You have to make Sam Darnold comfortable. Getting Gray Zabel in the first round is not the sexiest pick in terms of going out there and getting a wide receiver, getting a running back, or even a skill position player on defense. That's okay. You build this offensive line. They've neglected this offensive line for a very long time. You continue to build this line up front. Help out Sam Darnold. Play action bootlegs. Run the football with Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet. You'll be better off because of that. And speaking of the run game, Kenneth Walker III is a very good running back. Mixed in carries with him and Zach Charbonnet. If I'm Clint Kubiak, I'm using both of those running backs. Zach Charbonnet is more so of a power back, but he has speed to his game. Look at what he did against the Arizona Cardinals. He had a run that went for 50-plus yards and went for a touchdown. Did the same thing against the Green Bay Packers. Kenneth Walker III, on the other hand, he has more speed to his game. He's more explosive. He just can't deal with 20 to 25 carries week in and week out. He's not going to be the main engine of your offense, but together they can be. So having 2 very good running backs behind Sam Darnold, you're giving him a consistent run game. He has Jackson Smith-Njigba, who is a very good wide receiver. Now, last season, he had a career year in year 2. Year 1, he missed some time dealing with a wrist injury. This is why you selected him in the first round. He had 100 catches, 1,130 receiving yards on the year, 6 receiving touchdowns. He averaged 12 yards a catch. He's a very good slot wide receiver. Now, this is the problem that I have with Jackson Smith-Njigba. Can he be that true number 1? You can make the case, well, he was hiding behind DK Metcalf. He was hiding behind Tyler Lockett. It's a lot of plays to where he was the number 1 read, and they're getting him the football on a consistent basis. How would he look with Clint Kubiak? DK Metcalf has missed time over the last 2 years. They're going to miss that downfield threat. You do have MVS. MVS is no DK Metcalf. And for the ones that don't know who I'm talking about, MVS is Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Now, Valdes-Scantling was able to come in last year with the Saints on 19 catches. Yes, 19 catches. He had 411 receiving yards, 4 receiving touchdowns. The man averaged 21 yards a catch. Ridiculous. Track speed. But this is the problem with MVS. If he goes against a press man corner, More times than not, he's done. And he's been inconsistent with catching the football. Sam Darnold, he's known to take the top off the defense. If they can put him inside the slot and the safeties don't pay attention to him, he can go deep down the field. He could be a major threat for you. And this is the versatility with Jackson Smith and Jigba. He could play on the outside, but he's more so of a slot wide receiver here. You also signed Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, one of my favorite wide receivers in the NFL. This is a solid signing. This is not a great signing. It's a reason why the Rams moved on from him. He can't stay healthy. And they're going to need him to be on the field majority of the time for this upcoming year. And he doesn't have the same impact that he once had with the Rams many years ago. If you remember the season when the Rams went to the Super Bowl and they defeated the Cincinnati Bengals, this man, Cooper Kupp, led the league in receiving touchdowns, receiving yards, and receptions. He hasn't been the same player since then. It's a lot of mileage on this body. And Cooper Kupp is only 31 years old. 67 catches last season, 710 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns. And with me saying that he's not the same player, he's still one of the best route runners in the NFL. This is going to be a very timing system for Seattle. Underneath, he gets to play for Washington, his hometown team. It's a great story. I don't know how much juice he has left, but I can guarantee you this, he's going to give you the most that he can. They don't need him to be the superstar. He doesn't need to be the number one guy. That's going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba. But Cooper Kupp as a number 2, MVS as a number 3, that's a solid wide receiving room. I have some concerns with health, but besides that, Sam Darnold is entering a solid situation. He's comfortable with the offensive coordinator and Clint Kubiak. The offensive line seems to be better. And you have a lot of good players on the outside and in the backfield room for Sam Darnold. As far as the tight end position, Noah Fant had 500 receiving yards last season. He's a solid receiving tight end. Eventually, Elijah, who they selected out of Miami, the big tight end, who had over 700 receiving yards last season and 7 receiving touchdowns for Miami, he's going to come in. He's going to be the number 1 tight end before the season ends. And Noah Fant's not bad, but he hasn't lived up to that hype of being that first-round pick by the Denver Broncos many years ago. And Seattle got him in that trade when they traded Russell Wilson to Denver. Once again, Noah Fant, not a bad player. Elijah has more upside as a receiving tight end. Now I'm going to end this video off basically talking about Jalen Milro here. Jalen Milro. There's already reports and rumors about Clint Kubiak having packages ready for Jalen Milro right now as we speak. They selected him at the midway point of the 2025 NFL Draft. Jalen Milro, as a passer, he's not there yet. Hopefully one day he will be. Jalen Milro, the runner, the athlete, is amazing to have. Do not use him like Taysom Hill. I hate that argument. Taysom Hill is a tight end / wide receiver / quarterback / running back / fullback. Jalen Milro has the potential to be the best quarterback coming out of this draft class. His athletic ability and his ability to run in open space is amazing. It's on par with being a running back at the next level. And he has a cannon for an arm. It's just his accuracy and his instincts underneath that needs a lot of work. He will drift himself into pressure. He doesn't have the most accurate and immediate passes. You can work on that. While Sam Darnold is holding the fort down for the next 2 to 3 years, you can develop Jalen Milro. It's a great dart throw. You continue to build this offense and put pieces around him. Sam Darnold's not going anywhere anytime soon if he continues to play up to his standard. You let Jalen Milro develop and you could have a potential perennial franchise quarterback moving forward, but you have to develop him. Put him in the game. Let him run around and make plays. Let him throw a deep ball down the field with his arm. He's not ready to start right now. But in year 2, year 3, you see what you have with him. And I believe in this. The preseason, it matters. You get a lot of reps. A lot of players that are starters, they like to play in the preseason. They like to throw the football around just for a couple of drives, just for a couple of quarters. Tom Brady loved preseason games. In the preseason, let Jalen Milro snap up all. Let him eat up all those snaps. Let him go out there and let him play all those games. Get those reps underneath his belt. The best way to develop as a quarterback is by playing live game action. And the best way by doing that is in the preseason. You don't want to rush him into the field and put him into a terrible situation. We've seen quarterbacks like this before. Look at Malik Willis. The Titans, they rushed him out there. Having Jalen Milro as your third string is the best case scenario for the Seahawks, And the same for Jalen Milro. If it doesn't work out, you didn't trade up in the first round to select him, you got him at the halfway point of the draft. But that's an awesome draft pick. And overall, this was a great draft by Seattle. And this was an amazing offseason. They've rebuilt everything in the correct way possible with Mike Macdonald entering year number 2. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the Seattle Seahawks? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless.